Wild Turkey. It's not just for college anymore. It's a beautiful night for bourbon. Once again, folks, yes, it's a beautiful night for drinking bourbon. And tonight's bourbon is Wild Turkey. Yeah, we're gonna have a Wild Turkey shoot tonight. And the prize, well, the prize is going to be that I get to figure out which Wild Turkey is my favorite. Now, I don't have all of them, but I have 5 of them. I've got the Longbranch, I've got the Russell's 10-year, I've got the Russell's Single Barrel, the 101, and the Rare Breed. I've poured a little bit in each of 5 different glasses. The glasses have been mixed up a couple of times. I've walked back and forth and reordered them. I don't know which one is which, so the tasting is going to be blind in that I don't know which one of these I'm tasting. Hopefully this will go a little bit better than what my tastings have gone of the last couple of times I did this, because I couldn't discern a lot of flavors and a lot of different aromas. I kept getting the same thing over and over again, and I usually do better than that, at least when I'm just sampling and drinking a single bourbon at a time. So maybe it's just I'm getting confused because of all the different things I'm tasting one right after the other. I don't know what it is. All right, well, Wild Turkey, on its website, it states that it's made entirely from their own non-GMO grains. The only mash bill for Wild Turkey that I could find, other than their rye, was 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. So I'm going to assume that all of these bourbons share that same mash bill. They also did not talk about using different strains of yeast. They talked about using their own strain, which they add and which they put in terms of a sour mash, which means they use leftover grains from a previous mash, put them into the new mash to get the thing kick-started, but they also add their own yeast. It is distilled with a continuous still, so it is not pot stilled. It is barreled at a lower proof than most bourbons, which means that when they take it out of the barrel and they proof it down to what they want, say, let's say 101, you don't really need to add that much water. That means you get more flavor because you're getting stuff that was already in the barrel and had been exposed to the barrel for several years. They say that all of their bourbons are aged a minimum of 5 years in new American oak barrels with a number 4, what they call an alligator char. So all of these, to that point, apparently would be exactly the same. What is different is the number of years that they are aged. So they're each aged a little bit differently. This one is a single barrel, whereas the others, I believe, are all blended. So the Wild Turkey 101 is a blend of 6 to 8-year-old bourbons. It is 101 proof, which is 50.5%. The Rare Breed is a blend of 6 to 12-year-old bourbons and is 116.8 proof. The Longbranch is non-age stated, but thought to be approximately 8 years. and is 86 proof, 43% ABV. That is the lowest alcohol content of any of these particular Wild Turkey incarnations. The Russell's Single Barrel 10-year is 45% ABV and obviously 10 years old. And the Russell's Single Barrel is approximately the same thing, but is bottled at 55% ABV, or 110 proof. So there is a little bit of a difference between these two, but not very much. So let's get into tasting these and see how we do today. A little bit of alcohol on this one is the first thing I noticed. It's also caramelly sweet corn. Maybe a little bit of dark cherry, so I'm picking up a little bit of fruit here. This one's a bit richer, it's a bit stronger. I don't get quite as much of the alcohol on here, but I'm getting those darker fruits in here. Maybe a little bit more spice. I think some lighter fruits as well. It's like pears, I think. Of course, the caramel, the vanilla, that was also in the first one. Pretty much caramel, vanilla, oak, those things are pretty much in every bourbon to one degree or another. This one might be the lightest one on the nose of the three so far. It's also caramelly, it's also sweet. I'm not really getting much spice. The lighter fruits, maybe a little pear, a little apple. This one comes back in a little stronger again. It's more like the second one. In fact, there's almost no difference between them, so I think if I'm gonna guess, maybe these are the two Russell's Reserves. Just on the nose, we'll have to see how that plays out. This one's kind of in between these two and these two. It's not as light as those. It's a little stronger, a little heavier. I still get the caramel, I still get the vanilla. I'm still getting a little bit of fruit. It's more of the darker fruit than the lighter fruit. Cinnamon. Basically, you know, there's not a lot of difference between the nose. Some are just a little heavier, some are a little bit lighter. Some have more of the darker fruit, some have more of the lighter fruit. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But these three seem to have more of the darker fruit and be a little heavier. These two seem to be pretty close to being the same. These two are pretty close to being the same. This one sort of falls in between. So let's give them a taste. Oh, that's nice and spicy. It's sweet as it hits the tongue, as it rolls over the tongue, and I swallow it. It gets nice and spicy. It's sort of a peppery kind of heat, but also a little bit of that cinnamon oil in there. I'm picking up some cloves. Honey, vanilla, caramel. And it does have kind of that light fruit taste, maybe apples. Very good. Let's move to number 2. Oh, this is much richer, much more buttery. It's got a much better mouthfeel, heavier on the tongue. It coats the tongue a little bit, but it's got a longer finish to it. The flavors, though, I'm not getting, I got more spice on the nose. I'm getting a little less spice on the palate, a little more fruit. It's got a little darker cherries, also maybe some berries in there. It's nice and sweet. Yeah, I'm liking this a whole lot better than this one, but I liked this one a lot. I'm gonna guess here that I'm not gonna dislike any of these. I've had all of them except for the 10-year and the Longbranch. These were my first bottles of these. I hadn't tasted those before. I've had the Russell's Reserve, the 101, and the Rare Breed. In fact, you saw me drinking the Russell's Reserve. And I think I've even reviewed the 101 on the channel, or I actually had it in a competition. I don't think I've aired that video yet. Okay, let's move to number 3. Again, this is a lot like number 1. It's very light. This might be the easiest drinking of them so far. Very little heat to it. It's got a little bit of spice. It's all the same flavors are there, except this one, not so much of the dark fruit, but a little more of the lighter fruit. It reminds me a little more of pears. This one reminds me a little more of apples. This one reminds me a little more of pears. Little nutmeg here. I didn't pick up the nutmeg on the other ones, but I'm getting less cinnamon here. There's more honey, I think, in this one. Definitely the easiest drinker, and I would say the lowest proof of the 3 that I've tasted so far. I might start looking towards the Longbranch for that one. Let's try number 4. Love the nose on this one. A little more kick to this one. It's spicier. There's a lot more cinnamon going on here. Maybe some clove, some allspice. I'm getting those darker fruits, but I'm also getting a little hint of apple here. A little more buttery here. More like a butterscotch than a caramel, but you still get that caramel. Even in a butterscotch, there's a caramel flavor. There's just a little butteriness to it. Yeah, it's very pleasant, very nice. Not quite as smooth or easy to drink as these two, but that's okay. I like that. I would rather have a bourbon that bites back just a little bit. I don't want them that are gonna just kick my ass and blow out my taste buds and so on, but I kind of like a little bit of that Kentucky hug, and I'm starting to feel that a little. It's probably a combination of so far having tasted 4 bourbons, but that one definitely, it seems a little more proofy, a little more spicy than the others, but it's still very similar to number 2. Spicier than These two, not quite as spicy, I think, as these two, maybe about the same as this one. This one, I think, is more proofy than this one. Then this one's a little more buttery, a little more spicy. I don't think it has the proof of these two, but it's got the flavor of those two. It's going to be really hard. I'm going to be really interested in seeing what I've got here. But I'm going to try and guess. I'm going to say that this one is my favorite. This one is number 2. This one is number 3. Number 4 and number 5. So first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, if I had to guess what they are, I'm going to guess this one, and actually I'm going to guess this one, the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. I'm going to say that number 2 is the 10-year, number 3 is the Rare Breed. I'll go with number 4 as being the 101 and the Longbranch as being number 5. So I don't know which ones are which, but that would be my prediction. So let's see. My favorite, well, let's start with number 5. Number 5 is Longbranch. So I actually got that right. It is number 5. Number 4 is Wild Turkey 101. I got that one right. Boy, yeah, I'm doing pretty good tonight. 2 for 2 so far. I'm amazed at that. So number 3 is, damn, Rare Breed. Now I'm 3 for 3. And I definitely picked out the 2 Russells as being very similar, almost identical between the two. So now it's going to see, did I get them right? I really don't know. So let's see. Number 2 is the Russell's 10-year. Holy crap, I got them all. And of course, my favorite one is the Russell's Single Barrel. I'll never do that again in a million years. I loved all of these. They were terrific. I can't believe I got them all. That's amazing. I'm floored at that. I'm not that good. Really, I'm not. And they're all identical. Same mash bill, same yeast, same barrel char, different ages, different blends and so on. I'm flabbergasted at how well I did here. That just amazes me. But after tasting this the other day in the competition video that will be up before this one will, this does not surprise me that it was my favorite. Although I thought Rare Breed might get up there too. But I really thought that all of them, they're very close, obviously, because again, same mash bill, same yeast, same level of barrel char. How could they not all be good? They're just different proofs. There's just a different amount of water in them. And that's really the difference, the age and the amount of water. All right, that's my turkey shoot. So if you like my videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and y'all come back now, you hear?